This review is brought to you by Cricket Hockey. They have the full range of Nike hockey products available for same-day dispatch, and with a 4.7 rating on Trustpilot, you know it's a good shop.
So Nike have entered the hockey market. This is something a lot of people have seen coming for a few years now. They first entered with launching the Nike shoes, and they have now launched the Nike sticks. These have rolled out across the season throughout Europe and throughout the rest of the world going forward. The stick that I was able to get my hands on is the Laser Elite. This is their extreme mobile profile. It has a high carbon composition. It has this spine running down the back that's supposed to strengthen hitting power. It has a big reverse edge, and it has a very aggressive extreme low bow. It also has this textured pattern on the back, which is really nice for giving grip when it's in the wet, but I don't think it has any other purpose other than really just to be a bit unique. The stick that I was able to get my hands on is 521 grams and has a balance point 40.5 centimeters from the head of the stick. So when it comes to feel on the ball, this is a high carbon stick, so it has a very stiff feeling on the ball. So when you receive it, you've got to make sure that you cushion the ball or it will bounce away. Combined with the angle of that face makes it very easy to lift the ball on the first receive. So you have to make sure that you're leading your hands over the ball to keep it under control. Once you have the ball under control, it's really responsive on the ball and is great for dribbling with. It gives you a lot of feedback of knowing where the ball is on the head of the stick at all times. And that means that you can have a lot of confidence taking the ball into tight spaces or receiving under pressure without fear that you're going to get tackled. When it comes to dribbling, because of the high carbon, stiff feel of this stick, combined with that high balance point and low weight, the stick is fantastic for using for dribbling. You can move the ball around confidently, and because of its light head, you can move the ball really quickly and beat defenders with just the speed of the ball movement. Because of the high carbon nature, this stick is very good for control on ball and dribbling. Because of that responsiveness, you know where the ball is in the head of the stick, so when you are throwing the ball out onto your reverse stick or executing a skill to beat a defender, you know, because of the feedback the stick gives you, that the ball is on the head of the stick and exactly where it is as you move it around. When it comes to hitting, this is a high carbon stick. It has great power transfer and you can really get hold of the ball. Because of the aggressive bow and that extreme face angle, it's very easy to cause the ball to lift. So it does take some getting used to just because of that face angle hitting the ball flat. So I would say it probably took me 2 or 3 sessions to really have a handle on it and be confident in hitting the ball flat at all times, even when I'm wanting to hit the ball as hard as possible. Because of that high power transfer and that aggressive face angle, a lot of the times when I was shooting early on, I was firing the ball over the top of the goal and I just couldn't quite find that sweet spot. But once I got my head around it and I was confident with the stick, I was able to fire the ball into the roof of the net with a great deal of accuracy, and I was always consistent and knowing where I was going to put the ball. Because of that high carbon composition, the stick is great for slapping as well. The power transfer is excellent, and combining it with that extreme low bow makes this stick a dream for playing slider passes and slapping the ball if you're moving it around. When it comes to reverse, I've already talked about the thickness of the reverse edge on this. It is really square and it gives fantastic consistency. So I was really confident even from day one taking the ball onto my reverse stick and taking shots on with this. Because of how thick it is, it does make it a little bit difficult to get under the ball. So it does take some dialing in to just find the sweet spot for rocking the stick to get under the ball and fire it into the top corners. The power transfer on the reverse edge is sublime. I think this is one of the best power transfers on a reverse edge of any stick that I've ever used. Because of that, like I said, I was really confident taking the ball onto my reverse stick for shooting. And because of the thickness and the ease of which you could hit the ball flat on reverse, I was really confident playing passes with this stick on reverse as well. I was always confident taking the ball onto my reverse stick if I wanted to play a ball across the D from left wing, or if I wanted to play the ball down the line if I was playing a left back for whatever reason. Because of that confidence, I was consistently playing the ball on my reverse more than I usually would. So I was taking it into positions where I would usually be hesitant, and this stick was giving me the confidence to clear those passes. When it comes to flicking, this is a high carbon stick with an extreme low bow. It's got that very aggressive bow that I've talked about, and the unique shaping of the head of the stick. It's actually a bit thinner at the bottom as this power bar runs through the back of the head. It's really shaped, and it makes it really easy for getting under the ball and flicking shots at goal. You could easily get under the ball, lift it onto the face of the stick, and then whip through, adding power from that aggressive low bow to fire the ball into the corners of the net with a great deal of confidence. It was equally good for playing lifted passes, again getting under the ball and just chucking it into space for teammates. I was always confident playing the ball with that responsiveness from the high carbon stiffness. Knowing where the ball was on the head of the stick gave me a great deal of precision when playing lifted passes, and so I was always in a position where I felt confident giving that lifted pass, knowing that I was going to put it where I wanted it to go. It's equally good for 3D skills. I talked about earlier on how easy it is to get under the ball when you're receiving it. Because of that face angle, again, you can get under the ball if you wanted to use 3D skills, if you wanted to beat a player. It's so easy to get the ball onto the head of the stick and lift it over a stick or into the air to beat a player with 3D skills. That's perhaps even more true when it comes to receiving the ball. So as the ball comes in, you can just walk your hands a little bit so that you're receiving with the head of the stick angled and lift the ball controlled into the space and take the ball into the air to beat the defender. When it came to overheads with this stick, I actually had a bit of a teething problem in that the angle that I was picking the ball up didn't quite gel with the stick, and so initially I tried to throw a few overheads in practice and just didn't get under the ball at all. I played really hard push passes along the floor or knee-high lifted passes. After a little bit of work, I was able to get under the ball and get it onto the head of the stick and whip through with that low head weight and high stiffness, pushing all that power through the ball, and I could easily throw the ball over half the pitch accurately to a teammate. I was able to crop the ball onto the end of the teammate's stick with confidence, as I say, over half a pitch. And because of that, once I got my head around the technique that I needed for this stick, it was fantastic for chucking overheads. But what I would say is you might need to adapt your technique depending on how you pick the ball up before throwing an overhead. When it comes to drag flicking, this stick was fantastic. It's an extreme low bow, it's got an aggressive bow, and it's got that really extreme face angle as well. All those things gel together to make picking up the ball, whipping through, and generating power in drag flight fantastic. Because there's no groove, it's very consistent when picking ball, rolling it up and down that aggressive low bow to generate power, and then firing it accurately into the corners. Because of that, I was confident taking on drag flicks, whether it was a miss trap and the ball was spinning, or if I was having to adapt my run-up because of a bad injection. Picking a wall with this stick, fantastic. I found the touch compound to be really grippy, getting hold of the ball, getting under control as I'd moved it into the drag phase. Because of the extreme low bow and how aggressive it was really easy to move the ball up into the maximum bow one and then whip back down to generate a lot of power. And because of how aggressive it was really easy to generate that power later and add a lot of disguise to your efforts. So, Nike are obviously new to the hockey market. They've come in really aggressively with a unique shape. I didn't really talk about it, but the roundness of the handle goes quite far down. It gives it quite a unique feeling hand when you're moving the ball around or dribbling in extremely skills. It's not uncomfortable, but it does take a little bit of adapting to. Because of that spine ring down the back, I think it adds power when you're shooting and possibly adds a bit of stiffness when you're dribbling and getting control of the ball. It does give the head of the stick a very unique shape, and that does take some getting used to, and it's more difficult, as I mentioned, to get under the ball when chucking overheads, depending on having picked the ball up. It's also, because of the shaping of it, it helps to guide the stick through the middle of the ball when you're hitting a tomahawk, but it makes it a little bit more difficult to get the angle just right to get under the ball and fire it into the roof of the net when you're hitting on backhand. So I really like this stick. I think it's really interesting, and I'm looking forward to using it for a longer period when I get back into the season. I think there's been a lot of people real interested in how the Nike sticks play. And from my experience, it's really nice on the ball. It's got a good power transfer. And like I say, the shape is very unique. I think the graphics on the back are really eye-catchy. I'm sure someone is going to mention that they've missed a trick in not having the Nike tick be more prominent on the whole back of the stick, just because of the shaping matching up so nicely with a hockey stick and the Nike logo. But I think in terms of their initial design, I think they've gone for something a little bit more subtle. They've completely debranded almost the face of the stick.
I was a huge fan of my time with this stick. Unfortunately, just because of the timing of the season, I didn't get as many competitive games as I would have liked. So I'm probably going to do a follow-up review. I'm going to try and use this through any Summer League hockey and the start of next season. So I'll come back and try and give you a bit more information about how the stick plays, because obviously there is a lot of interest in Nike as they've just entered the hockey market. If you do want to support me further, you can head over to my website, which is bossfhockey.com. You can join as a member there or on Patreon. It starts from just £1 a month. It gives you early access, it gives you bonus entries into giveaways wherever I run them, and it helps me do things like these reviews. Or you can go to bossfhockey.com and you can buy some Boss F Hockey merch. I have t-shirts, I have grips, I have hats. All that money goes towards funding these reviews, getting my hands on more sticks and getting more information out to you.